While others talk theory from their studios, I take you into the field to show you real deals, real investors, and real results. This is not classroom real estate. This is the unfiltered, boots on the ground playbook of the pros. Hi guys, my name is Brian Trippe. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, but I travel all across the country to bring you in-person interviews and property walkthroughs of professional real estate entrepreneurs. I'm so glad you're along for the ride, so let's get into today's show. What's up, everybody? We are in Greensboro, North Carolina. My first time in Greensboro. I'm here with the one and only Jamel Gibbs. Super grateful for you taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to meet with me, chopping it up, just really learning a lot from this guy. Started in real estate back in the early 2000s. He's been doing it for going on 25 years. 25 years. And has obviously become financially independent, time independent by growing his YouTube channel, doing obviously all the real estate that he's doing. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. And Jamel and I just got talking about a really interesting part of your life. Mm-hmm. When you grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And we could tell by the accent, by the way, that was a millionaire by 25 while living in the projects.
Yeah, I want to clarify something. So, it wasn't $1 million in cash. It was $1 million in net worth. So in New York, or when you buy enough properties, it's easy to be a millionaire on paper, right? So I can buy, for example, 10 $100,000 houses, and on paper, I'm a millionaire. That doesn't necessarily mean I had $1 million in cash. I had cash flow from it, had some rental properties, obviously, from, the cash flow came from the rental properties. But having $1 million in cash took me a lot longer to be able to get there. And honestly, at the end of the day, I don't like to have that much cash readily available. And I got my own reasons for it. I'd rather invest the money in a more cash flowing asset, right? So that was a lesson learned a long time ago. I can talk a lot about all of this stuff, but yeah, $1 million net worth at 25 years old while living in the projects in Brooklyn.
So there's obviously, that was 20 years ago too. Right. So, and you've told me that since then, you lost it, got it back, lost it again, got it back. There's a lot of lessons there. What can you share that we can kind of draw from maybe some of those experiences? Like, what did you do in your early 20s to get you to that point that's still relevant today?
So a lot of it came from, so let me just tell you a little bit about how I ended up in real estate. So after high school, I was going to go work for the phone company in New York. And, the position that I was hired, that I was going for, they said I was too young for it. I needed to be 21. I was 18. And I wasn't qualified for that position. So they wanted to give me another job, but I just didn't want to do that. Around that same time, my aunt ran into this guy named Brandon, who used to work for a spot trading currency firm on Wall Street. Met her on the street. And he was just going around saying, hey, if you know any young guys who want to work, here's my business card. Have them give me a call. So she gave me the phone number. I went down to Wall Street. I was kind of hooded out, man. But I learned how to, remember, I'm fresh out of high school. I didn't know anything about business. I learned how to speak on Wall Street. I learned how to do business on Wall Street, right? So I was in a spot trading currency firm before 9/11. Now, when 9/11 hit, the people who invested into the company, they started pulling their money out. Nobody knew what was going to happen with the stock market, things like that. So the company went bankrupt within like a couple of weeks. So I needed something else to do. I had a friend who was in the real estate business in Brooklyn, TJ, and he was a broker at the largest real estate firm in Brooklyn. It's still the largest right now. And he showed me a check for like $24,000. And I said, I gotta do something with my life. So that's what I'm gonna choose to do. I went and got my real estate license in New York City. It took me a couple of weeks to get it. And then from there, I started learning the business. It took me a year to close my first real estate deal, and it wasn't even with my license. I flipped the business, wholesale. Back then, we didn't call it wholesaling. But I put two people together, no paperwork, handshake deal. I knew one guy who wanted to buy a sandwich shop, and I knew a guy with a sandwich shop for sale. So I said, let me put these two together. Give me $1,500. I'll put you guys together. Handshake deal. They paid me my money, and the transaction went through. That was my first real estate transaction, right?
What did that do to you?
It just made me a believer, man.
Yeah.
I knew it was real beforehand because I saw guys making money, but it became real to me.
Yes.
When I got the check.
Yes.
And it was a small check, but it just made me that much of a believer. 2 months later, I got my first big check, $48,000. And I said, oh, this is real.
Oh, yeah.
And it changed my life. And
how did you get the 48,000? You remember what
I sold a brownstone in Brooklyn.
What's up?
So a brownstone is, you might call it a row house. To me, it's a nicer version of a row house, but just a high-end home in Brooklyn.
Is it like a townhome?
Like a townhome.
Okay.
Townhome, but it's called a brownstone. Brownstone in the front.
All right, gotcha.
You're from New York, you know what I'm talking about.
All right, we're not.
Right? But you're from Chicago, so you should know what a brownstone is.
I'm from the Chicagoland area. I'm from Northwest Indiana. I'm from the country.
I got you.
Big difference.
In Brooklyn, I knew somebody who wanted to buy a home. They had $1 million to spend, and I knew somebody who was selling a home. Another handshake deal, 48 grand. Just like that. Changed my life.
Handshake deal on 48,000.
48,000 bucks, bro. So that changed the way I thought about everything, man. It just changed my perspective with real estate in general. And I said, I got to do more of this.
So, and at the time when you were living at home?
I was living in my grandmother's house in the projects.
So, I mean, look, living in the projects, and you got 50 grand in the bank.
It was more money than both my parents made in a year. One check.
Yeah.
That just changed the game for me.
But like, I mean, what's your lifestyle like at that point? Because I mean, for some, because I know some real estate people who I've coached, and maybe you've even coached, where they do the one big deal and then they go out and they blow the whole thing.
I blew it. I blew it. You got to understand something. The dynamic from where I come from, nobody in my house, nobody in my family has ever owned a house. Besides my uncle. At least in my immediate family, I didn't know anybody who owned a house. Right. Nobody in my family, I know this for a fact, has never received that kind of money that quickly. Right. I didn't have the guidance.
No doubt.
I didn't know what to do with the money. So any and everything I've ever wanted, you got to remember, I went without for so long, my entire life, that I thought when I get the money, this is what I should do with the money. So I didn't have the big uncle or my dad or anybody who was able to say, this is what you should do. I had to learn that through the school of hard knocks.
No doubt.
So for me, getting that kind of money, although it was life-changing, I went through a learning period of making that kind of money and then eventually realizing that I started spending more than what I was making. Because I went without for so long that I wanted everything I never had. Right. And that just, in the long run, looking at it from a bird's eye view, that wasn't a smart thing to do. So,
but it's what you knew, in the moment. So I remember my first wholesale deal. I made $10,000, and I never got a check like that before in my life. Right. I mean that, and the
what
way
you do with the money.
But here's what I was going to say. The way I tell the story today, I was 30. I was a little wiser. I wasn't 18 or 20, which. I was 20, and I was married too, so it was a little bit different.
I was 22 when I got that check.
But here's my point. I tell everybody that moment changed my life. $10,000 didn't change my life.
It changes your mindset, the way you think about things.
The 48,000, just looking back on it now, it really didn't. It might have changed your life for a short period of time.
It changed the way I thought. Changed the way I thought,
and that's what it did. That's what that 10 grand did for me.
Yep,
changed the way I thought.
So after that, I mean, big checks just started rolling in, 24,000, 30,000.
Like, what were you doing?
Just flipping deals, man.
You were flipping businesses, though. You weren't really doing
and real estate.
Okay.
I was doing both, right?
How did you find the connections? How did you find the buyer and the seller? What were you just?
I was a street guy. I just knew everybody. You know what I mean? So in New York, everybody knows everybody. So New Yorkers, I like to think of New Yorkers as connectors, like you. You traveled all the way from Alabama to connect today with me and a couple of other guys along the way, right? So you use your time wisely. That's the big city life in you, man, whether you know it or not.
Let me ask you something. Who's in your corner? One of the biggest breakthroughs in my real estate journey came when I stopped trying to figure it all out on my own and I started surrounding myself with high-level investors who are actually doing deals and building real businesses. That's why I created Board of Advisors, a curated mastermind for real estate entrepreneurs who are serious about growth. We're talking real conversations about cash flow, hiring, deal flow, burnout, and strategy, the stuff that actually moves the needle. We're meeting October 6th and 7th in Birmingham, Alabama. And if you've been feeling stuck or isolated or like your business could grow faster with the right people around you, then I want you to go to boamastermind.com and enter that promo code podcast. That way you get a deep discount. And that way you can join us. And when I say deep discount, I really mean it. I'm literally only covering my costs to host the event. So go ahead and go to boamastermind.com, enter that promo code podcast. And I just want to be clear here, this isn't one of those flashy masterminds full of influencers trying to build their followings. This room is built for operators, real estate investors who want to scale their business, not their social media presence. Go to boamastermind.com, enter the promo code podcast, and meet me in Birmingham on October 6th and 7th.
Everybody in a big city is a connector. Everybody knows everybody. Hey, I know a guy who has this. Can you plug me in with this guy? Can you plug me in with that guy? And I just was that guy. Plus I worked in a barbershop while I was building my real estate business. So I hear people talking all the time. To me, your best ideas come when your back is up against the wall and you got to find a way to make money, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm working in a barbershop. We close at 9 o'clock every day. Mm-hmm. I needed more money. I'm living in New York City. I'm in my early 20s. There's not a lot going on, right? Financially. I usually take a cab home. One day I talked to the cab driver. I said, would you rent me this cab? You rent me the cab, I'll pay you half the money I make every night. Overnight, after I close up the barbershop, my wife is in the passenger seat. I'm getting cab runs from the same cab company that this guy is working at. And I said, you can make money 24 hours. You work during the day, I work at night. Rent me your car, I'll pay you $60 plus the gas. And I'll do that for a while. And every night I made $200. I'll give him $60, put $15 in gas, and I'll keep the difference. So I'll close up the barbershop, go on the cab runs till about 3 in the morning, go home, go to sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, wake up, go back to the barbershop, and I did that for a while. That's how I stacked up a little bit of money. That's how I survived before I got my first real estate deal. I was hustling.
So take me through that. Your back's up against the wall, and you've got to come up with money. Mm-hmm. You hear different lyrics to a song. You'll hear, you'll see art. You'll see people express themselves in an artistic way. Mm-hmm. And some people are like you, where you did it the right way. And then some people will do it a different way. They might steal, they might sell something illegal.
Right.
Where, for you, coming from where you came from, where did it come from inside of you to be that industrious?
My mom. So here's the thing. I grew up in a household with my mother and my father. Most of the people I grew up with one parent. Most of those guys are not where I am today. So
why? So have you ever thought about that? Have you given that thought?
I have. I've been thinking about it my whole life. My dad played a major role, whether it was my dad didn't play a major financial role in my life, but just having a male figure, a father figure in my household, whether he was doing good or not, it had a drastic impact in the way I think and the way I do things. So I learned what to do and what not to do from having a male figure in my house. My mom was the breadwinner in the house. Right, my dad had seasonal construction jobs, and then he was a DJ. But my mother held the house down, and I watched her struggle financially to take care of all of us. When I say all of us, I'm the oldest of 4. So when I was 7 years old, she put me on a newspaper route, started training me in my entrepreneurial brain at a very young age. because I had to learn how to take care of myself at 7. So I sold newspapers until I was maybe junior high school, I want to say 12, 13 years old. And then I got into checkers. And it's funny because I'm in New York State. At my age, I was a New York State checker champ and chess, right? Still undefeated till today. I got a science behind it.
I got a chessboard in the trunk. Let's
I will
go.
crush you, bro.
I'm joking.
I'm going to crush anybody. But it's the way my brain thinks about the board. I got a strategic brain. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I guess I was born with it, but nobody, till this day, people used to bet money, and that's what I was getting to. People used to bet money that they'll beat me. I'm a young kid, 10, 12 years old. I bet you $5, $10 that I'll beat you. Till this day, I used to have people lined up trying to beat me. Nobody could ever beat me. And I used to rack up, so that's how I was making some money. I used to hustle checkers. From there, my uncle, Jamie, taught me how to cut hair at a young age. I didn't have the money to go to the barbershop, so he taught me how to cut hair. So I learned how to cut hair. I started on my father, then my brother. Then I started on, cutting everybody on the block, on the stoop. We call it that in New York City. So it's like standing on the staircase, basically in front of the building. I was cutting hair for $5, and I had people lined up, and then I became really good at that. By 14, I went to my first barbershop, Dominic's hairstylist on McDonald Avenue in Brooklyn. I don't think he's there anymore, but he gave me my first shot in the barbershop. Italian guy. And then he helped me get licensed. Now, he was a master barber. I had an apprentice license. I gave him $1,000, and he, I never went to school for that. So then I'm in high school. By the time I'm in my junior year, I owned my first barbershop. So this is where I understood, I used my business brain. I know a guy who had some money. Where he got it from, that's his business. But he's like, I'm trying to do something. I want to open up a barbershop. I said, if you allow me to be your partner, I want 50% of the business, then I'll cut the hair and we'll split all the money. I'll get all the barbers. I'll run the whole shop. So he put up the money. That was my first private money lender, whether I knew it or not. But again, when your back is up against the wall, your creativity, I'm a kid. I had to pay myself. I've been taking care of myself since I was 12 years old. Right? So the guy named Bobby put up the money. It was in Sunset Park, right off of 3rd Avenue and 58th Street in Brooklyn. And he put up the money, and this is how I got through high school. Right? Now, we had 2 other barbers that worked in there, so I made a little bit of money, nothing life-changing. And then after that, I started looking for a different barbershop at that point. So I went to multiple barbershops in Brooklyn. I worked in different barbershops until I found the one barbershop where I felt like home. So I worked there for a few years. And then I got that opportunity on Wall Street. And then while I'm on Wall Street, I'm still cutting hair. Well, no, at that time I wasn't cutting hair. I was on Wall Street because I used to spend a night in the office. Right, so this is where the work ethic comes from.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So it's all work ethic.
It's all work ethic. That's all it is.
And it's almost like too, you had a thirst or a craving for just the deal or the money coming in.
I needed. It wasn't even about the money because I never.
Was it about survival?
It was survival. That's what it was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So again, I'm taking care of myself since I'm 12. Right? How am I going to eat? How am I going to get from here to there? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And then on top of that, I met my wife when I was 19 years old. And then I put her on my back too. You know what I mean? Now, she was working little jobs here and there, but I told her, I said, if we're going to do this together, because we ended up moving in together within 6 months, right? Because that's a long story, but we've been together for 25 years now.
Wow.
And we've been married it's going to be 20 years now.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it. So, and my wife is my best friend. But I told her, I said, you'll never have to work a day in your life. If you're going to be with me and we're going to do this together, you take care of the house, I'll take care of everything else. And that's what we've been rocking with ever since.
Wow.
We got 5 kids together. She never had to work a day in her life.
Wow.
Right?
What was it about you? Like, What made you say something like that? Like, what made you believe? You obviously believed it. What made you believe that statement to be able to say it?
I just believe in myself, man. You know what I mean? When nobody else believes in me, I have such a firm belief that I can do anything. And it's proven over and over and over again. Even when I fail, I'm still winning because I learned something from it. They say a loss is not a loss; it's a lesson.
If you let it be a lesson.
If I let, but I've always been 10 years ahead of 10 years ahead of myself. I had to grow up quick, right? So I've always been 10 years ahead of where I'm supposed to be, and it's because I had the survival instincts, and I just believe in myself so much, and I believe in goals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I believe in myself and what I'm capable of achieving so much. I believe nothing can stop me.
So let me ask. So you've been coaching and teaching people how to do real estate since what, 05? But like
2005.
Yeah, you're going on 20 years of mentoring people, even to this day. We're going to link up Jamel's YouTube channel and all the stuff he's got going on. Some incredible stuff.
First real estate YouTube channel. First real estate YouTube channel. You can look it up. Verified, bro. Me, and then a couple months later was Tyrone Taylor. And we were the only
Birmingham, Alabama,
shout out to him. Never met him, never spoke to him. Shout out to him too, because we came up together.
Did y'all never talk?
Never spoke to him a day in my life.
You don't know him at all?
I know of him. I'm sure he knows of me.
I'll connect y'all.
But if you want, I want to give him a big shout out because when I was the only one, I felt like I was the only one doing it at that point. He came in and he showed, watching him, because he was putting out so much content, watching him, I learned how to put out more content. See, my intentions when I first started doing YouTube, I told you the story about how my first ebook and all of that. I just wanted to put out more value to to the people that signed up for my ebook.
Right.
That's why I started YouTube. It wasn't about money or anything like that. And watching him over that time period, and he went in well into the years, just putting out videos almost every day for a while. I just said, this guy's killing it. I need to put more effort into it. And 2019 is when I really started taking YouTube serious. So 11 years late, 60 videos, 4,500 subscribers when I started revamping my channel. Now I'm approaching 200,000.
Let me ask you this, because you've been coaching people for so long. Everything you just shared with us about your story, how you got going, how your work ethic, and how can we as coaches, as influencers, teach or coach people who are trying to get into real estate who don't have that background, that don't have that drive, that don't have that hustle? Is it possible?
It is, man. So here's the way I look at coaching. First of all, there's too many shiny objects.
Yes.
Right? If you listen to my story, which we didn't even go through, we went through a fraction of it, right? But if you listen to my story and you know my life, you'll see everything that I've ever lived had a purpose behind it, right? There was a reason I had to do something, and that reason was bigger than fear. It was bigger than anything else that I could imagine at the time. So if you have a choice between being hungry and homeless, or, because I've been there too, and I wasn't necessarily like homeless on the street, not that kind of homeless, you know what I mean? But if you had a choice, again, between being hungry and homeless, or being or making something happen for yourself, that choice is the goal. That choice is the goal is not to be hungry and homeless. The goal is to do this so that I can eat. So the goal is eating and having a place to live, right? Even though it's a small goal, some people set much larger goals. It's still the driving force that gets you to take some type of action so that you won't have the circumstances on the other side. So it's the same thing with coaching clients. There's too many moving parts, too many shiny objects, too many different ways of making money in real estate. That's why the first thing that I teach people is you got to get clear on what you actually want and why you're doing it. Whether it's, I want to retire, or I just want passive income, or I just want to flip houses, or whatever the case may be, right? Let's get clear on it. Because the moment that you're clear on it, we can create the game plan, the system around that, so that you're not deterred, you're not swayed one way or another when it's time to really put in the work. Because the work part is going to make you quit. But if your reason for doing what you do is big enough and is bigger than whatever that path is going to bring, you're going to eventually hit your goal. So I can say, hey, I want to make $1 million, but how am I going to get there, right? I didn't have the game plan to get there. I just did it. But most people, you got the game plan, you got the goal, you got the game plan, but along that road, you're going to have roadblocks. There's going to be some trees that's going to fall down on that road. There's going to be some tornadoes that's going to come through.
So how do you teach the resiliency to keep going in the midst?
They got to have a big enough reason why they're doing it. They got to have a purpose. Bro.
So Jamel, that I hear people say that a lot.
It's got to be in you, man. You can't teach that. You just can't. Some people, I can say, look, I need to lose 50 pounds, but when I have a cheeseburger sitting in front of me or strawberry shortcake or something like that, we're sitting in a diner right now, but when I got stuff like that sitting right in front of me, how bad do I really want it? Some people are comfortable in their situation and they might say that they want to do something, but they don't want it bad enough.
Right.
You can't teach that. So that's why I said there's a difference between being hungry. If you got a choice between being hungry and homeless or doing what you got to do to get some food on the table and stay in shelter,
okay,
you can't teach that.
So are you trying to say that it's difficult, if not impossible, to be successful at whatever it is you're trying to do, much less real estate, if you are not back up against the wall, kind of?
That, from my experience, that's what it is. For other people's experience, some people they have the financial means to start and they're smart enough with the money. Somebody's teaching them to do it. So, for example, my son is never going to have to live the life that I live.
Right. And maybe to his detriment?
Not necessarily. Well, it depends. It is possible. It just depends on his work ethic, right? But I don't teach my kids. I teach my kids you got to work for what you want.
Yeah.
But you got to be smart about how you work as well. Because I've put in the sweat, the blood, the tears, the 5 in the mornings. I did all of that stuff to figure out that I'm not going to make it any further than the next guy who has a 9-to-5 job if I keep putting in that kind of work. So I had to learn how to run a business. So my son can learn from me on how to run a business.
Sure.
Right?
What's going to make him want? What's going to put
he got to show me, because I'm not going to give it to you, right? So you got to, like my daughter, for example, she doesn't want to go to college. And that's perfectly fine. But she's showing me that she wants to do things. So I'm just going to support it. I didn't have that support when I started. So it's going to be much easier for her to reach the goal because I know she's clear on what she wants. It's going to be much easier for her to reach her goal simply because she has somebody showing her how to do it. So she gets to skip all of the learning, all of the hardship. I'm going to let her, obviously there's going to be hardships along the way, but it's a different kind of hardship where you don't have to worry about how you're going to eat. You understand what I mean?
And there's even people who they'll bury their head in the sand and ignore all the problems. Yeah. The problems aren't going away.
They ain't going away, man. Circling back around to your question, you gotta be clear on what you want. It can't be somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Instagram. That's the problem with social media.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. Because you're looking at somebody else's dream.
Right.
Guess what? If you look at their dreams, it is fabricated on your end. It's not real.
Yeah.
Because that's not really what you want.
Yeah.
But you see somebody else with it. That's kind of how I ended up wanting to make more and more money. I saw guys 19 years old when I was 19 making $5-10 million a year on Wall Street. I got a Rolex on my arm because I saw guys my age wearing Rolexes, driving Porsche. I got a Porsche outside in the parking lot because I saw somebody else with a Porsche. So I lived that. It was Instagram before Instagram.
Right, for sure.
Right? So that just heightened the way I thought about stuff. And I said, I got to have it.
Because you saw that equals success.
Right.
So
But that's not success today. You know what success is today?
I know what it is for me. I think you got to define it for yourself.
I think success for me, and it's super, I'm glad you said it that way, because my success is different than yours. And this is where we're going with it full circle.
Right.
Everybody's success is different.
Right.
Right. Some people want material things.
Right.
I don't care for it. I've had it all.
You don't care for it now because you realize
that
you already had it.
Right.
But for the person that never had it,
they might, when I was that kid,
yeah,
to me, that was success.
Or there's maybe a middle-aged person, a 45-year-old, 50-year-old who does their first real estate deal, makes $48,000, and then they go and buy a Porsche.
That's
or put a down payment on a Porsche.
That's success, right? For me, and once you make enough money, you'll probably realize this as well. You figure this out. I figured it out. Success is time freedom, man.
100%.
Period.
That's all it is.
I don't care about...
People talk about financial freedom. I think they probably mean time freedom, but they keep saying financial freedom. Time freedom.
Time freedom.
Look where I'm at right now.
Chilling.
On a weekday.
Chilling.
I'm working. This is me working.
Yep. Me too, man. Sitting in a diner with a Jalen Brunson jersey on. I don't have a suit and tie.
Go Bulls.
Yeah, right. New York Knicks. But anyway, that's freedom.
Yep.
When I don't have to worry about a 9 to 5. Today is what? Friday? Right?
I think so.
Whatever day of the week it is, right? I'm able to do what I want. I didn't come outside until 12 o'clock, 12:30.
And I'm sorry I made you do
it. Hey, I got bags under my eyes right now because of you, bro. I'm kidding. But look, time freedom, I realized I had everything I've ever wanted. Right? I'm sitting there, I'm getting 2 car washes today. I got a Cadillac Escalade and a Porsche, and I'm washing both cars at the same time. And I'm like, man, I can't believe I've been able to achieve that. But I don't care about it. My time is more valuable than anything. I can spend all the time I want with my kids.
Yeah.
I can, my kids are happy. My house is taken care of. I don't have to worry about a 9 to 5. We were just talking about opening up a new business for my kids because they want to do that. I got the time and the freedom. My financial resources can't allow me to do that. And it's something I've built up over the years. But what's most important out of all of this, I lost everything today. I just want my time.
For sure.
I want to watch my kids grow up.
Yep.
To me, that's the most valuable thing that you have, man. Period. I wanna be there. I don't miss a game. I don't miss a graduation.
Absolutely.
I don't miss a ceremony. I'm there. I don't miss a recital. My daughter goes to gymnastics. My 5-year-old, she goes to gymnastics class every Monday. Always there. My daughter wants me to drive her to Raleigh tomorrow because she's going to this K-pop concert in Washington, D.C. I'm there. That's what she wants to do. That's freedom to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I coached my son's football team, his basketball team, his baseball team, both his baseball teams, both his basketball teams.
And you don't have to worry about where your money is coming from.
And you start talking about, what's driving you.
That's the point.
Has to be like.
But you know what? It doesn't start that way. It doesn't start that way because I didn't realize that's what I wanted until my 3rd kid. I told my wife recently, I said, I feel like I'm giving my smaller kids, the younger ones, more attention than I was able to give my older kids because I'm building a business while they're growing up.
Yeah.
I don't want that feeling.
Right.
I feel like I neglected my kids. They don't feel like that. But I feel like that because of the type of attention I can give to my younger kids.
Yeah.
So I have some regrets with that, but it was all so that I can give them a life that I never was able to have. But they didn't ask for this life either. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what I've learned with my kids is the thing they want the most, it doesn't matter.
Time.
What they have, they don't matter. It doesn't matter where you live. All they want you.
They want you, man.
You know when I learned that? I took them on a $6,000 Disney trip. And the day we got back in the morning on a Sunday, and our small little town is having a carnival. And then it's like, okay, all right, we'll go ahead and go to the carnival. We went to the carnival. Literally with those little fair rides, And I was like, just spent the whole week in Disney, all right? Asked them at the end of that Sunday night, what was the most fun that we did the whole week? Disney, everything. And they said, the carnival. I spent $80 at the carnival. spent over $6,000 at Disney.
That's how it is, man.
And the carnival was the most important.
Yeah.
Was the most fun.
I mean, that's just how it looked. We took a road trip to New York City. You saw the picture online.
Yeah, you got to go to a Knicks game.
They love. Last year I went to New York. We spent $10,000 in New York. We did everything. It was probably I'm from New York City,
But there's 7 of y'all.
and I did stuff. Yes, there's 7 of us.
Yeah.
I did stuff in New York City I've never done before while I was living there.
Wow. Yeah.
We had the time of our lives. Right? That was probably the best trip I've ever taken. And I've spent a lot of money on trips. Right? We just came from New York about a month ago, and it was even better. And I spent a fraction of what I spent last year. And we didn't do nearly as much. It was, what they told me. They said because we were together, we took a road trip. Because we were together, that's what made the difference.
Yeah.
So
It's time.
it's just the time, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm 44 years old, and I'm happy I realized that in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not about the hustle and bustle and all of this other stuff. What do you really want for your life? You got to figure that part out, but you got to be very clear on what you want. So my goal moved as I became more successful. At first, it was about the money. At first, it was just about getting some food. Then once I figured that out, then it was about, okay, let me build something. Then once I got there, at one point I had the Porsche on the wall and all of this other stuff. They tell you to build the dream board. Right? So I had all of that. Once I got all of that stuff, I was like, this is just stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need all of this stuff. I'm actually trying to get rid of stuff.
Right.
Right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then once I had all of that, then I'm like, okay, what do I really want? Why am I doing this? Why do I?
And that changes.
And it changes over time. So what your goal is today, once you materialize your goal, you'll see if you're a go-getter, you're going to see how the goal is just going to continually move. You're going to keep improving. If you allow yourself to improve, you're going to keep moving the goal post. And that goal is just going to change.
Yeah.
And you'll eventually come to the realization that your time freedom is all you really want. That's it.
And if you want some of that time freedom, click on the link in the description. I'm going to send you to some stuff that Jamel's doing. He's been doing it for as long as anybody. He's got some really great resources. We'll make sure we include that in the description.
Even my businesses today are wrapped around time freedom.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I operate my coaching clients. I love coaching people. It's something I love to do.
Yeah.
But it's still wrapped around
For sure.
my time.
For sure.
You understand? Like I'm not gonna. There's certain things I won't tolerate.
Yeah.
And I need you to respect my time. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna help you do whatever you want to do
For sure.
in your business.
And you're one of the best at it, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
My man.
Thanks so much for listening to today's show. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you got any value today, please take 30 seconds and leave us a quick review. To get connected with me or to become a part of the Board Advisors community, go to boamastermind.com. That's boamastermind.com. We'll see you guys on the next one.